once the computer boots up, there's a little, if the software is not running, there's a little radio automation icon here. It says on-air radio automation. Just start that. That'll start the program up. Okay. Otherwise, if the software's up, just minimize it like you normally would do any program, and it's just minimized, and then I can go do Adobe, do whatever you do in the production here.
Okay.
All right. So with that in mind, see, somebody already did what I told them not to do. So, close the tabs when you're done.
Yeah.
All right. So in the production here, just like the Air Studio, you're going to see a lot of the same things. We see the library. Mm-hmm. We see the playlist, except there's no log in there. Because this is a production, so there is no log. Okay? You'll get the voice tracker. So the voice tracker icon, which is down here.
Okay.
But what we're going to concentrate to start is on the yellow icon, just like in the Air Studio, which is the playlist.
All right.
You use the playlist to open up a log for the station in question, and you'll then use that to find your first track so you can get into the voice tracker.
Oh, okay.
So how that works, so to do that, you go to More, and you're going to do Open Playlist. Now, there is an option for Open Voice Track. Based off of what I heard, what some of you guys do with schedules, with inserting voice tracks, inserting promos when they're tracking, I suggest not using Open Voice Track because that's a condensed version of the log that only shows the track and the elements around it.
Okay.
You need to see the full log for what you guys do, so use Open Playlist.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll click Open Playlist, and a little widget's going to pop up here, and it's basically asking you to choose a station.
Okay.
You're going to choose KBAQ.
Yeah.
And then it's going to ask you what day I want a voice track for.
There we go.
For testing purposes, I'm just taking today because they've already started tracking for tomorrow, so I don't want to mess with that log. But I would hit today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, or if there's a different date. Or it's basically as far as the logs are.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
For today's purposes, I'm only going to do today. So here's the midnight hour. If I'm voice tracking for, let's say I do 10 to 2, you can scroll down to that hour.
Right.
That's a pain in the butt.
Right.
This is what I like to do. Go to More, scroll to Hour.
I
hit scroll to Hour, and then if I hit 10 a.m.,
right.
So I hit 10 a.m., that's going to take me right to my first track at 10 a.m. So it doesn't matter what hour I choose. It's going to bring me to the 10 o'clock hour, and then you'll see your very first track.
How about if you on a Sunday, I start at 7, but I want to be able to hear what Brian did for his last track. And I don't know what time that would have been, but it would have been in the 6 o'clock hour.
So what you probably do is something like this. So I would do scroll. So you bring up the log. Would you say 6 a.m.?
6 p.m.
6 p.m. So you would choose 6 p.m.
Right.
This is your first track for 6 p.m., right?
Right.
You can then back the log up a little bit, and you should see his track already cut. Right now it's blank. It's red because nobody's cut it.
Okay.
So you'll probably see his track. So then you can hit the preview button, and then click that voice track, and you can actually hear it.
Oh, all right.
That would be the simplest way to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Really?
Yes. More. Okay. Scroll down.
I'm going to go back to 10 a.m. All right. So I'm using 10 a.m. as an example. So I'm tracking 10 to 2. I went to 10 a.m. from scroll to hour. So what I need to do is highlight the very first track, my first track.
Sorry, it's so tiny. Okay, right.
So I highlight the track, and then you're going to hit the Edit Voice Track button.
Okay.
Okay. So I highlight the track, and I hit Edit Voice Track. So when I hit
that,
you good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
When I hit Edit Voice Track, that's going to pull up the voice track. Okay.
Right.
Well, why is it? Is that 2 voice tracks?
One voice track. That's the elements around the voice track.
I see. Okay.
So it pulls up the voice tracking widget, and thereafter, when I cut the track, and I'll show you how to do it in a second. When I cut a track, and then I'm ready to go to my next track, you're going to hit this next button. And it goes from track to track to track to track to
and
track.
that also saves it if you don't click the 4th time. Is that correct? Or you click the 4th time?
No, I'll show you that. It saves it when you hit next.
Right,
so
okay.
It saves the file and takes you to your next track. So To cut a voice track on this green button where it says start is 4 clicks.
Right.
The first click is you hitting this big green start button that says start. So when I hit that for the first time, you're going to hear the song you're coming out of. So there's a song you're coming out of.
Right.
I click it again.
We found the track.
So here's your start button. So we're going to do the 4 clicks.
Where's the start button?
Highlight the track. It goes to that.
Yep. So I hit it. Here's my first. Then I hit it again to record. So now I'm recording. Blah 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 blah. Third click starts the next element.
Right.
Fourth click stops the process.
Right. And then this one goes to next.
And then if I hit preview, I can listen to the mix. So if you hit preview, you hear the mix to it. And if everything sounds good, then you hit next. And what that does is it uploads the track, and it took you to your next voice track.
Okay.
And then you just keep cutting, go, cutting, go, or cutting next,
Until you
cutting
get
next.
to the end or whatever.
Until your very last track, you can either hit the next button or hit the save button.
How can you keep track of your time?
The schedule time is right here. So
Right.
I'm at 10, 12.
Is it cumulative along with the music?
I think it is.
So I can tell if I'm getting over the top of the hour?
Yeah, so if I go, so here's 44, and then there's 45, and then here's 11:59, 45, and then the next track is. So I'm in the very first track of the 6 a.m. hour. Okay. Right now it says time to 6:59:45 because that's where the timing target is.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Then it says minus 6 minutes and 44 seconds. That means you're minus 6 minutes and 44 seconds from that point.
Okay.
So as you keep voice tracking,
It cuts that down.
it keeps cutting it down
Okay.
until you get to where you know to time out the hour.
Right.
All right. So I cut this voice track, and if I cut the track and everything is tight to
The way I want it for the preview, right.
then you would just hit next and go on to your next track. But if there's like something seems loose or it's not quite right, you're going to use the seg button.
Okay.
The seg button is going to bring up the 3 elements: the song you're coming out of, your voice track, and then the song you're. If let's say somebody was talking about some kind of like applause and they want to fade it out early because it keeps on going, so that's where these little red markers here, you could move the EOM tone to fade it out ahead of time before it actually ends.
And it won't fade it out on the actual recorded file. It'll just do it for that particular.
Correct.
Yeah.
Just for that time, one time only. Then you've got your actual file. So let's say it's a little off, so you need to move it back or you need to move it forward.
How are you moving it? Just
Right,
drag,
just
click,
click and drag.
Oh, that's perfect.
And now this one,
We're
if this one's off, I just click and drag this one. So let's say I'm going to move that in a little bit. Depends on what the situation
Then
is.
you hit the preview, make sure it's in the right
Hit
spot.
this preview button here, and then it'll preview it down. If it's good, hit stop. If you like it, hit accept. So it's just a little segue editor.
That's a fantastic thing. What a great feature that is. That's going to save so much grief.
The other thing I want to show, if you do like front and back cell, you can hit the playlist button here, and that will pull up the log. And if you hit lock, so this voice track is right where we are, so I can actually see what's coming up or what's possibly already aired. So you can do like front and back cell.
Right.
That was, this is.
Yeah, this was, is. Or
Why would you need to lock?
Because if you don't lock it, if I click, it goes away. The lock keeps the screen up.
Got it.
So if I want to keep it up, I hit lock, and now I can click and voice track at the same time.
Okay.
So it keeps the screen up, and then so when I
It
hit,
just keeps the screen. It doesn't lock you out of recording.
no, it's
No.
just keeping this screen
Just watch it
up.
where you can see it.
Yeah.
So now when I hit next, if you watch, I hit next, it follows you with the log,
Ah,
like so.
cool.
And then if you don't need it, you just close it out.
So it's probably a good thing, really, to have an overall view to begin with.
Yeah. Some people like it, some people don't. You know, some people just cut
So
and
that
go.
was,
Right.
what was that?
Playlist.
Playlist and then lock, right?
Yep. Yeah, first time somebody brings it up and they say, every time I click it, it goes away. I'll come in here, I'll say, hit the lock button.
Yeah.
And then even though you lock it, if you are done with it at some point, just hit the close button, and that'll just close it out. So some people do this. So some people will just let it count down. And right now it's doing EOM, so until the end of the file. Some people will just leave it be.
And then hit the next.
And then another click.
And see, it automatically it turns the mic on at the very end.
Oh, okay.
But if there's too much of a gap, now you got that gap, and now you got to go to the segue editor, and then you got to adjust it.
Right, yeah, which we
So what I
before,
suggest
you know,
doing
the other-
is just before the end, turn it on, but don't say anything.
Right.
When you're ready to talk, you start talking because the mic's already active.
Yeah.
So then to go back and maybe redo one of your breaks that was like, you know, several breaks ago.
You would use the previous.
Yes.
So if you click previous, that's going to keep taking you back to other tracks.
There you go.
And just go back.
Okay.
And then
I'm sorry, I've been
once
standing
you
in
find
front
the
of you
track,
forever.
just re-record over it again and then hit next to upload it. The
And then
next
you-
button always uploads it.
Okay, and so if you do that, say I go back 4 tracks, and I want to get back to where I left off, do I have to continually hit this forward button to get to it, or is it gonna,
It depends on how far you're going back.
Okay.
You could technically go back to the playlist. It
yeah,
might be
but why bother with that? Be
yeah, it
just
might be
like 3
cumbersome.
clicks and a
Yeah,
half a second
I'd rather
and you're
just keep using next and just keep going back to where I left off.
there. Yeah,
And just try and
Do
recognize
you
it.
often go back to previous voice tracks?
Oh no, not at all.
No.
Because if I botch something, I just record it until I get it right, and then go on to the next one. So there's no, I mean, there is no like.
But
ah,
yeah,
shoot.
but you can if you need to.
Oh yeah, good.
Now, when you're all done with your voice track, you hit the save button or hit next to upload your last track.
Right.
The only thing that I ask is you go back to your playlist,
Mhm.
the yellow button, and make sure you close the tab.
Okay.
What tab?
This tab here. Closed. And that's the
And
tab.
this is at the very end.
This is at the
When
very
you
end.
finish-
Hold shift.
Yep. Just close it, and when you hit close, it's just going to be blank like this.
Okay. Do that one again. 'Cause I want-
Close tab at end of voice track session.
All right. So as you saw when we were in here earlier,
Right.
somebody did what I told them not to do.
Uh-huh.
They had multiple tabs open like this.
Right.
Because eventually somebody's going to voice track for the wrong day.
Right. Right.
If you don't close your tabs, because they're
Right.
not paying
Yeah.
attention.
Right.
Because right here I got today, I got tomorrow, and I got another today. I could
Oh
have
my
a,
goodness.
you
Yeah,
know,
you can't. Yeah, yeah.
and somebody could have left it on tomorrow. You think it's your tracks, and you just go right to that, and it's the wrong one.
Mhm.
Right.
So when you're done voice tracking, these are tabs. Just make
That one's
sure
closed.
you hit the close button to close them out. Make sure
All
it's
right.
closed. It should look like this when you're done.
All right.
That's all I ask. Now, if you need to insert a voice track for any reason, so I have a log open. If I click on Insert VT, I can insert that anywhere in the log.
Okay.
So let's say I insert it right, let's say right there. Now I just inserted a voice track, and you see how it says production user? That's an inserted voice track.
And it'll play. Will it play several voice tracks together? Flex never did.
It could, but I don't recommend it.
Because at Christmas, you know how at Christmas we have whole suites of Christmas music. You know what I mean? That we have to.
There should always be an element in between a voice track. There should never be 2 voice tracks back to back.
Oh,
though.
exactly. No, you can't. Yeah, there
Right.
should never be that. No.
Right.
Yeah.
There would be no
There could be a
reason for it.
promo.
Right.
Promo,
Right.
yes, that's fine.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what they were talking about. They said there's a situation where you're talking into a voice track, and then you need to go into a promo and then talk after that promo. All right?
Mhm.
So for what we did there is if I went to the promo category, so QPR, so we're using the library just like we did in the Air Studio to look for whatever promo,
Right.
and you want to, let's say I need this promo, and I got to put the promo in the log, so I put the promo in the log, right?
Right.
So now there's the promo, and then there's a voice track after the promo, but I need a voice track in front of that promo, right?
Mhm.
So that's where insert VT comes in, and I click there, and now I got a voice track promo voice track,
Got it. Okay.
and then that will allow you to voice track.